Gentlemen, the time now is 6 o'clock. I am Clerk Robertson, and in the absence of our supervisor, Supervisor Bennett, I'll be presiding this evening. Could we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sure you win this election, but just for procedure's sake, if we get a motion and a second and to appoint you to moderate the meeting, that would be outstanding.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. Motion by Raridan and supported by Kilmer. Very good. Do I need a record roll call for that, Mr. Attorney?
You don't, but
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, passed unanimous. Thank you very much for your vote of confidence. Thank you. Okay, very good. So we will proceed with the roll call of attendance. Trustee Hugo?
Here.
Trustee Raridan?
Here.
Treasurer Kilmer?
here.
Myself. Trustees Fike, White, and Supervisor Bennett are absent, but we have 4 members, which is a quorum. Okay. I need a motion to approve the agenda. Motion by Raridan and seconded by Hugo. Agenda. Trustee Raridan.
Yes.
Trustee Hugo.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Treasurer Kilmer.
Yes.
4 votes in the affirmative. Motion passes. All righty, very good. Let's see. Next, we have public comment. We have 2 individuals who have turned in cards that wish to speak on public comment. First, we'll have Alice Grover of 6405 Prairie Dunes Drive wishes to speak, wishes to address the board. You are allowed 3 minutes, and welcome.
I might take 15 seconds.
Well,
Under future agenda items, I noticed that one that is dear to my heart has not been put down. So I request that the board add the modifications to the peddler's ordinance prohibiting them from soliciting in communities similar to ours, our senior committee at Grand Reserve. I was promised that after the budget stuff was done, that would be brought up again. So that is my request. Thank you very much.
your request is duly noted. Thank you. Okay. And then we also have Elias Fanous. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
You got a spot on.
Okay, very good. Mr. Fanous, you're welcome to the Township Board meeting.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Elias Fanous. I'm a local attorney. I grew up in Grand Blanc, lived in the township throughout high school, and then when I got married, moved into the township as well. Wanted to introduce myself. I am planning on running for the 67th District Court judge position for the Chief Judge, Christopher Odette, is going to be retiring next year. So I wanted to introduce myself to everyone, let everyone know who I am. Got Grand Blanc roots, went to Grand Blanc community schools. I have my 3.5-year-old son is in community schools. On a second note, I know there's been a lot in the news regarding the attempted closure of the courts, and I think that as a member of the township, as a lifelong citizen of Grand Blanc, the Grand Blanc local court is very important to our community, and it should stay open. It should not be moved downtown. Our citizens here in Grand Blanc deserve to have representation in Grand Blanc. I will make that known as well as I continue meeting other people, and I plan on going to the commissioners' meeting to also voice my opposition to shutting down the local courts and moving them downtown. It's very important to our citizens that they have representation here in Grand Blanc. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. And pleasure to have you here with us this evening. All righty. Let's see. We will move on to the next item, which is a public hearing on the creation of a Green Knolls Road Improvement Project Special Assessment District. Attorney Laddie?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So tonight is our public hearing to allow you to consider whether or not to create a special assessment district for the resurfacing, and this is interesting for us, of just the east 200 feet of Green Meadows Road. So even though we brought in more than 51% of the property owners within the area of the subdivision, it is not for resurfacing throughout the subdivision, only the first 200 feet of the entrance road. The project cost is currently, I think, $32,000. There's approximately 51 parcels in the proposed district, and that will work out to somewhere in the neighborhood of $625 total for each home. And then I think we put a 5-year maximum extension of the payments for that project. And so I don't know if there are any folks here to speak to tonight, but this would be the time and place for that to happen.
Okay. Is there anyone in attendance this evening that wishes to speak to the issue? Speak to the creation of the Special Assessment District at Green Knolls? Going once? Okay, well then, please step forward, sir, and identify yourself.
My name's Chad Labby. I live in the Green Knolls subdivision.
Chad,
Labby.
last name?
Labby.
Labby, and very good. And you are a resident of Green Knoll?
Yes, 9351.
Say, house number again?
9351 Green Tree.
9351 Green Tree. Okay, very good.
I don't know
Carry
who-
on, sir.
Okay, I don't know who can answer the question. I know it's 200 feet, but I'm wondering where that 200 feet starts. Does it go all the way up to the road? Is the township or the county partial for where, so far into the subdivision before that 200 feet starts? Because the main damage to the entrance of the subdivision is not, too far in. It's, you turn off of Saginaw Street where the turn lane is, you're only probably talking maybe 100 feet of nothing but holes, which only gets filled maybe 3 times a year. And then if they're not gonna repair that, if it's the county's responsibility or the township's responsibility, and our 200 is only starting at, say, this side of the ditch, I don't know where the easement starts, the subdivision. That's my question.
That's a great question. I don't want to put Mr. Boggs on the spot, but if you have any idea about where the improvement might begin in relation to Saginaw Street, it might be helpful.
Mr. Boggs, step forward if you would, please.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. The language I have is 200 feet west of Saginaw Street. So I gotta get clarification. Does that mean center line or the road right-of-way line of Saginaw? Because I'm assuming right at the edge of Saginaw. So it's the approach and the Saginaw Road right-of-way, 200 feet west. But I can get clarification on that.
The map shows.
Yeah, that's what the map shows. Okay. So
And just a question. Is any portion of the repair area within the road commission's jurisdiction because it's in such close proximity to Saginaw? Or is it entirely, I guess we rephrase the question, is the area of the problem area a road maintenance issue with regard to Saginaw Street?
no, because Saginaw gets federal funding
Okay.
up and down. That's typically, they're all road commission roads.
Yes.
But maintenance jurisdiction, that falls under the subdivision portion of that.
I'm just trying to visualize it in my mind, and I'm wondering how, the gentleman's question is well asked, because we're trying to understand precisely how much geography we have here that we're fixing, and whether or not this, like I said, how much of a maintenance issue this would be for Saginaw as opposed to the Green Knoll subdivision itself. But
From the map, it's right at the edge of Saginaw back, because I think that's where the holes and everything right at the approach. I don't live in the subdivision, but that's right at the
whole section, once you go to turn to the subdivision.
from Saginaw Street. Yeah.
Just wondered if the township or the
we'll look forward.
liable for any of that
Sure.
replacement or repair.
We'll look forward to the clarification from you, Mr. Boggs. Thank you so very much.
Yep.
All right, very good. Are there any other individuals who wish to speak to this issue? Yes, sir. Please step forward.
My name's Tom Booth,
Tom,
Booth.
Booth. And what is your address, sir?
5189 Sunland.
Sunland, okay.
And in the paper that we get weekly, they were commenting on the fact that one of the other subdivisions that was getting paved were getting funds from the township, and it was something that if the township had funds available, it would be credited to that, and I just wondered whether that was under consideration.
Okay. What the gentleman is obviously referring to is the program that the road commission has in cooperation with the township. Superintendent Limita, could you speak to the issue?
I can. This project was not presented as a 20% match, 10% township, 10% road commission. There were no funds budgeted in the 2023 budget for that matching funds, primarily because the road commission, it's a new policy that was instituted by the road commission. We've also had a bigger project that went before this one. There's a certain allocated amount that you can have. So it's a first come, first served basis. And anytime we have a project like the Concord Green project that went ahead, if the money was allocated, it goes to the first come, first served. That project was already completed in 2023. They would have been first eligible for the funding. But again, the money was not allocated in the 2023 budget because of the policy not taking effect until this year. So,
Isn't this a 2024 project?
this may be, but again, I can tell you that we have first come, first serve, which projects are getting approved. Kings Point has already started. That project will, we've got Kings Point, Wishing Well, and Green Knolls. Kings Point was already approved and started. That project is $1 million, or the road was just slightly over $1 million. And then Wishing Well has been approved. That project is $3.6 million. Out of that $150,000 that we have available to the township, those projects both eliminate the $150,000 commitment. Your project would be you might get done first, but it was approved or will be approved if it moves forward after those two projects were approved in 2023. Yep.
Are there any others wishing to speak to this issue during the public hearing? Going once, going twice, going thrice? Okay, then we will close the hearing. Any questions from the board? I've been focused over here, I should pay attention. Okay, we will close the hearing at 6:13 p.m. 6:13 p.m. I mean, I'm both presiding and doing clerk duties at the same time, so bear with me while I do that. All righty. Then we will move on to item 6, which is the approval of the consent agenda. I need a motion for the consent agenda. Motion by Hugo and supported by Raritan. Very good. Supported by Raritan, consent agenda. Let's see, Trustee Hugo.
Yes.
Trustee Raritan.
Yes.
Treasurer Kilmer.
Yes.
Myself, yes. For nothing, motion passes. Very good. So we've got the consent agenda has been passed. Now, old business. Superintendent Limita, would you care to speak to the items on old business?
Sure, you have the first item under 7A is the ARPA report, information only. Again, the board is aware that we were allocated $3.8 million in the ARPA funds. We do have all $3.8 million allocated. The vast majority of it is spent, and the part that's left over is going to be going on to Fire Station number 1 construction. Our goal was to have all the funds, if not spent, at least allocated no later than December 31st of this year, earlier than the requirements by the feds. We do have that done. One of the reasons being is we didn't want to end up having to give any back. We have, there was a question, when you look at the sheet that was supplied, it shows you $1.6 million on fire station number 2 remodel. We're going through that build right now to go through all of those invoices that you see included, because that amount did exceed what we had asked the board to allocate. And so we're just going through to verify what ran through underneath that general ledger account number for ARPA funds. If there has to be a correction, obviously any funds that would be exceeded will come back to the board, and it would come out of the fire station number 1 construction project. So they'll still be allocated to fire, it's just how they're being allocated. And I want to make sure that we are transparent as possible when it comes to the amount that the board has been told was the not to exceed, and the invoices that the fire department has submitted for pay through the ARPA funds.
Questions from the board? I see none. Item 7B.
The second item on your agenda is there because you put together a policy, asked us to put together a policy back in 2021. It's the board compensation review policy. What this policy does is it provides for the opportunity for the Board of Trustees to establish, review, and set fair and equitable compensation for all elected and appointed board, committee, and commission members who serve the township. We have, as part of that policy, that at minimum of every 4 years, the policy is reviewed and compensation is reviewed to make sure it is still relevant and that the compensation being delivered is appropriate. Tonight, I placed it on your agenda for the review of the policy to see if this board feels that the policy is still appropriate, doesn't require any changes. From a staff's perspective, we think that it is still relevant, that the language in here, which allows you to do that review and requires that you do it the year prior to a presidential election, was done very specifically because as a township, your offices are all available every 4 years during a presidential election. So if you're going to set compensation for your own seats, as well as the other boards that you do the appointments for, doing it the year prior to the election gives you the opportunity to let people know who may be interested in running for a board seat or any of the other committees what that compensation level is. So the ask for you tonight is just to take a look at the policy. Be happy to answer any questions or entertain any comments. If you're comfortable with the policy, it requires no action, but it does mean it's going to show back up on one of your remaining agendas for compensation discussions, whether you feel there needs to be any changes made for any of those positions.
Very good. Thank you for the explanation. Are there any questions from the board?
That would be, I would think we would
Trustee
do this.
Sheridan.
I would think we would do this when everybody's here.
Okay, well, I want to afford you the opportunity to speak nevertheless. We are dealing with a short board tonight, but okay, very good. Well then, thank you very much for that explanation. And we will move on to item 8A. The board will consider Resolution 23-36 to authorize the purchase of service credit years for the MERS Defined Benefit Plan for Officer David Clark. Dennis, could you enlighten us?
Sure. The Board of Trustees in 1998 established the ability to purchase service credit for any of our employees. And one of those employees has made that request. And so Human Resource Manager Colleen Nedzwicki is going to give you a description of what you're being asked to do this evening.
Delighted to have you with us this evening, Colleen. Please enlighten us further.
Yeah. So our officer, David Clark, has requested to purchase 3 years of service credit from MERS. And what happens when they do that is they go through an audit process with the retirement analyst at MERS, and then they're given an option of the amount based on the market for them to take that credit. There is no expense that goes to the employer for this. So essentially, they're just trying to retire a little bit earlier, of a potential retirement early.
Okay, very good. Are there questions? Trustee Raridan?
So if he purchases the 3 years and it gives him 25, for the medical,
It does not go towards the medical. Yeah, it's only for his retirement.
okay.
Treasurer Kilmer, did you also have a question?
Yeah, I'm not sure that I'm understanding. So this is we're letting him purchase?
Correct.
It doesn't involve us, does it, other than the,
Correct. So it's also in their union contract, it's agreed upon, and that they can purchase up to 6 years' time, I believe. But it has to be approved by the board through a resolution. Each time an officer or sergeant wants to go through this process, we go through it. We just did one in March.
okay?
Are there further questions? Okay, very good. Well, then, a motion would be in order on Resolution 23-36. Motion by Raridan and supported by Hugo. Very good. Trustee Raridan?
Yes.
Trustee Hugo?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Treasurer Kilmer?
Yes.
4-0, motion passes. Very good. Item 8B, the board will consider Resolution 23-37 to establish the Green Knolls Road Improvement Special Assessment District as petitioned by the residents. Attorney Laddie?
Well, here's your chance to create the district by resolution, and if you have any questions, other than the two we heard tonight, we try to answer them. You'll see a follow-up motion also, a resolution, that if you do create the district, we're gonna quickly set up the cost public hearing for December 12th. So these things are gonna happen in quick succession.
Okay. Well, very good. Then a motion is in order on item 8B. Do I see a motion? Motion by Hugo and supported by Raridan. Very good. Trustee Hugo.
Yes.
Trustee Raridan.
Yes.
Treasurer Kilmer.
Yes.
Myself, yes. 4-0, motion passes. And we have item 8C. The board will consider Resolution 23-38 to set a public hearing for December 12th, 2023, to approve the Green Knolls subdivision, street paving SAD special assessment role. I don't believe that requires any further explanation since it's in furtherance of the same issue. So I need a motion on item 8C. Motion by Treasurer Kilmer, supported by Trustee Hugo. Very good. Trustee Raridan.
Yes.
Trustee Hugo.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Treasurer Kilmer.
Yes.
4-0, motion passes. Very good. Now, item 8D, the board will consider a motion to approve a permit for the firework display for the tree lighting ceremony at Creasy Bicentennial Park on December 1st, 2023. Mr. Kimmer is stepping forward.
Righty, so
Enlighten us further.
good evening, everyone. So December 1st will be our annual tree lighting display, big community promotional event, free event for the community at Creasy Bicentennial Park. We do have a firework display planned. We have done this, we're on our 5th or 6th year, I believe, of having this event. So in order to have the firework display, we need the board to approve the fireworks permit in order to conduct the display. And so I ask for your approval tonight for the permit.
Very good. Well, motion by Trustee Hugo and supported by myself. I'll offer the support on this one. All righty, excellent, thank you. Let's see. Trustee Hugo.
Yes.
Trustee Raridan.
Yes.
Treasurer Kilmer.
Yes.
Myself, yes. 4-0, motion passes. Thank you very much, Mr. Kimmer. All right, very good. Okay, the board will consider a motion to approve the amended 2023 tax rate request form, the L4029. Superintendent Lemata, can you speak to the issue?
Sure, you guys had this before you prior because we always have to submit it to the county before the September 30th cutoff date. In this particular instance, we had a millage request on the ballot last week for the police millage. I'm happy to report that the voters overwhelmingly approved the increase to 1.5 mils from the 1 mil prior levied. But that does require us to update the 2023 4029 form and submit it back to the county. So we would respectfully ask, it is the only change on your 4029, that you would approve it and authorize the resubmission to the county with the updated millage rates.
Very good. A motion would be in order. Trustee Raridan makes that motion, supported by Trustee Hugo. Very good. Trustee Raridan.
Yes.
Trustee Hugo.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Treasurer Kilmer.
Yes.
4-0, motion passes. Very good. Moving on to item F, 8F. We have the board will consider Resolution 23-39 to adopt the township fee schedule to support the fiscal year 2024 budgets. Superintendent Lemata.
Do you want to handle this?
Oh, forgive me. Ms. Roberts.
This is something that we approve every single year. This year, we had a few changes to Parks and Recreation and the Building Department on our fee schedule.
Okay. Are there any questions with regard to this fee schedule? Seeing none, a motion would be in order to adopt the fee schedule. The motion by Kilmer, supported by Raridan. Very good. Trustee Hugo.
Yes.
Trustee Raridan.
Yes.
Treasurer Kilmer.
Yes.
Myself, yes. 4-0, motion passes. Very good. The board will consider Resolution 23-40 to adopt the DDA 2023 budget as adopted by the DDA. Superintendent Lemata?
This and the next item before you, although I see it does say adopt the DDA 2023 budget, and that'll have to be corrected to reflect 2024.
Well, there's two two motions. The first one is to adopt the 2024 budget.
Yep.
And then the next
one
motion is to adopt the amended 2023 budget.
But the way it reads on the agenda is a resolution to adopt the 2023 budget as adopted by the DDA.
Do we have a typo in the agenda? Forgive me, I was unaware.
It should read the 2024.
Okay.
The actual document in your packet does show the budget for 2024 as a recommended budget. And so you're going to be asked by resolution. The DDA has already considered this and approved it. It is a balanced budget, of course, and it has revenues anticipated of $508,000, $508,185 for the fiscal year 2024, and obviously includes expenses of $508,185.
Okay, very good. So just for the purpose of clarity, I'll restate the motion again. The board will consider Resolution 23-40 to adopt the DDA 2024 budget as adopted by the DDA. I need a motion on that. Motion by Hugo. Motion by Hugo, supported by Raridan. Very good. Let's see. Trustee Hugo.
Yes.
Trustee Raridan.
Yes.
Treasurer Kilmer.
Yes.
Myself, yes. 4-0, motion passes. And then item H, the board will consider Resolution 23-41 to adopt the amended 2023 DDA budget. I believe you have anything further to add on this item, Superintendent Lemata?
Sure, for the 2023 budget, this resolution takes care of making some adjustments to the previously passed and approved 2023 budget, both been approved by the board and the DDA board and this board, and now this resolution comes back to you to amend that 2023 budget to include some changes, primarily of which was the addition, as if you remember our conversation from earlier this year, of providing for administrative capture for the expertise and time that myself, Executive Coordinator Melissa Roberts, and our Finance Director Kathy Sostek provide support services to the DDA. And we've begun to, once that they've had the opportunity to build up and actually have some pretty decent, as you saw, revenue flowing in, we feel it's only fair that they pay for the administrative support and expertise that we provide to that DDA board. They have agreed. This year it was prorated to the amount of $38,168, and that is the amendment to the 2023 budget. The DDA board has approved it, and it sits before you for your approval.
Okay, very good. Then on item 8H, I will make the motion that we adopt item 8H. I do need a second. Seconded by Treasurer Kilmer. Very good. Trustee Raritan.
Yes.
Trustee Hugo.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Treasurer Kilmer.
Yes.
4-0, motion passes. Very good. Let's see. All right, future agenda items. There's a mention here that there will be a future discussion in the near future on the pension and OPEB funding. Superintendent Lemata, do you wish to elaborate further?
Sure. At your next meeting, which will be November 28th, you're going to be approving the proposed fiscal year 2024 budget. We thought it would also be a good time as you do the 2023 amendments, much like we did with the DDA budget just now, that you'll be looking at allocating some funds to the pension and OPEB. In addition, I think we had budgeted for 2023 about $660,000 that we had allocated into the 2023 budget. But if you recall, the funds that we had left in our general fund balance during our June presentation of our fiscal year 2022 audit, we had allocated a little over $1 million towards post-employment benefits. You'll be asked to approve those as well. The reason being is we want to get those paid in 2023 so that they're paid before the end of the year, and then they will be reflected in the most recent actuarial reports. So it's kind of important. And we thought that would be the perfect time to talk about this, since you'll be being asked to amend the 2023 budget to include that additional $1 million pay down of post-employment benefits.
Excellent. Excellent. Very good. Are there any questions for Superintendent Lima? No. Well, then, all right. Well, very good. Thank you for that discussion. Now, moving on to board reports. Trustee Hugo, do you have anything from the Planning Commission?
I have nothing to report.
Okay. From the Police Committee, Trustee Raritan?
We're good.
Okay, very good. Treasurer Kilmer, do you wish to comment?
Yeah, I have, you've all been provided with the current portfolio performance for last quarter. If there are any questions on that, I'd be glad to address them, but basically right now it's just a number. We're chugging along at about 4%. Don't seem to be able to get more than that, but it's about what it amounts to.
We're still in the black.
Yeah.
Very good. Excellent. Are there any questions, comments on that? All right, very good. Thank you. I have nothing to report. Attorney Laddie, do you have anything you wish to contribute?
No, sir.
Superintendent Lima, anything before we conclude?
Just one last item. I told you at the last meeting that we had our new DPS director, Al Cooley, start. He is into his third week now and getting acclimated, trying to absorb a lot of information. Again, a shout out to Assistant DPW Director Greg Boggs. He did an incredibly admirable job, as you would have expected, as the interim director, and he's doing an amazing job with helping Al get acclimated to all of the facets of our operation, which are very large and not easily absorbed. So I do want to give a shout out to Greg. He's been phenomenal. And then last week, we had our new Assistant Director of Finance start. So she is into week 2. Really excited to have her, Chantel, on board. She brings an incredible amount of knowledge in accounting, and we're really looking forward to seeing where we've got some great ideas on finance on where we want to go, including like some central procurement and a lot of other things that having the extra hands on is going to allow us to be much more proficient and professional as we move forward.
All right, very good. Well, then, very good. If there is nothing more, I think a motion to adjourn would be in order. Motion by Trustee Hugo, supported by Trustee Raridan, and we are adjourned at 6:36 p.m.
Short meeting, good job.
Well, I did my best. Thank you.